No.
Yeah, so I'm audible? Nimish or. Yeah, Nimish, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay. Okay, so on the behalf of Complete Developer Student Club of IIIT Kalyani, I would like to like introduce all the freshers to DSC IIIT Kalyani and get to know us, get to hang out with us, get to build exciting projects with us. So the first thing that will come to your mind is what is a DSC and why should you join this club? So developer student clubs help students bridge the gap between theory and practice. So there are a lot of frameworks which you will have to learn, which are not part of your original course curriculum, but you will need those skills to build projects and participate in innovation challenges like hackathons. So, developer student clubs will keep you updated with the latest technologies that we have so that you know and you understand and you know how to implement these technologies. And it's a very interesting and exciting community to be a part of. And you can, you get to solve a lot of exciting challenges and be a part of a very interesting, exciting learning environment. So, what are the perks of joining a DSC? So, there are a lot of technical stacks like web development, there's machine learning and deep learning, there's IoT, there's blockchain, there's cloud. So, when you hear all these terms, like for freshers, it's completely new, right? So, as a fresher, even for me, it was completely new. So, how to get started with these tracks and like what you'll find an aura of courses out there and how to know that which is the best course or what is the perfect way to get started. So that is what we will help you out with, and you'll also have some good projects to put in your portfolio in the first year itself. Also, in first and second year, we have a lot of opportunities for internships, open source programs, which because of lack of networking and not being updated, we sometimes miss out on. So DSC will make sure that you're completely updated with all the opportunities and all the like different open source programs that are there so that you don't miss out on any. And finally, networking. So DSC partners up with its organizations like Google developer groups like GDG Kolkata, then WTM, and the network is amazing. Like the network has Google developer experts, it has Googlers. We'll have speakers from different, we'll have speakers from people from places across the globe, and knowing these people also makes a big difference when it comes to getting an internship or getting a good job. It does make a difference. Yeah, so networking is very important. So coming to the DSC solution challenge. So what is the DSC solution challenge? You get to showcase your project to Googlers and developers. So what is this project? So as a part of DSC, you will solve problems of local businesses. You'll go out there, you'll come to know what are the problems that they are facing, and you will use your knowledge and the things that you learn in DSC. You will work with your peers, and then you'll make a product which will help them out, and then you'll participate as a team from this DSC, and there are several DSCs across the country which will also participate. So certain projects get selected and they are selected for mentorship by Googlers and GDs. They tell you what are the problems with the product that you have, and then they help you out, they help you to improve it, and even help you out in like they can even help you out with a lot of features that could have been they can literally help you out with getting investors and all that. So and then there's getting a chance to get featured in the Google developer blog. So that is a monthly blog which goes to like millions of developers across the globe. So that is a big opportunity. And there's also a lot of swag that is included, and chances to, like be able to visit like the Google, let's say the headquarters, for example. But that is a very like big thing. The small achievements are like very nice. Okay. So some previous programs that the DSC, like our DSC organized, was the first was the kickoff and 30 days of Google Cloud. So the kickoff is basically we talk about what DSC is. We talked about what DSC is and who are the people in which teams. So you can go and check that video. We'll put the links in the description. So like the ML team, like you can, in case you want to get started with ML and you're stuck somewhere with the project, you know who to reach out to. Everyone is mentioned, like the ML team, the web dev team, the project coordinators, everyone is mentioned, and you can reach out to them for some help in case you need any, or in case you have an idea for a project and don't know how to implement it. And then there's 30 days of Google Cloud, which was which was a program organized by DSCs across the country. So it was a 30-day program to learn about Google Cloud, and there were 2 tracks, like the cloud engineering and the ML track. We will come to know in detail about this later. So next is Hacktoberfest. So Hacktoberfest is a month-long celebration of open source, and it is okay that we missed it. We'll still celebrate open source like in the coming month with a certain event, which we'll also talk about. So that event had a talk on Git, like Git and GitHub, and like how to make your first pull request, how to like create your own repository on GitHub, and like that. Next, we had the Quick Lab workshop, which is again a part of 30 Days of Google Cloud. So the people who had some problems and the tracks which, like the labs which people faced problems on, that our cloud facilitator just like showed there so that it is easier for people to complete them. Next, we had an open source talk on Hacktober as a part of Hacktoberfest itself. So we had to talk about the different technologies that we have, like machine learning, mobile dev, web development, and all that. And recently, we just got over with the DSC Week of Wonders, which was a week-long celebration, and like it had quizzes, it had a hackathon, it had exciting prizes as well for everything. So that is what we just got over with. So how to join? So this is the link that you will go to join. Most of you already probably have done it. And this is what the page looks like. And what you have to do is click on join us, and then you can like join the thing and you'll get updated. If we have a new event or something, then you'll get updated. And in case you want to reach out to us, then you have the contact us section here in the end of this page. You can even check out the organizers and what their respective roles are. And like in case you want to contact us, you can directly contact us with like through Discord or anything, or you could reach out to us through this mail of DSC IIIT Kalyani. And the upcoming DSC events are Winter of Code, which is a program aimed at increasing participation in open source and increasing the number of students to crack open source programs like GSOC, etc., like Outreach, etc. So that is something that we will come to towards the end. And same for Android Study Jam. So people who want to learn Android app development, mobile app development basically, they will be, they should absolutely get excited for these study jams, because they will start soon after this session, like in a week or 2. So that is it about the upcoming events. And now we'll have an intro to different development tracks. So starting with Shovik Biswas for cloud. Over to Shovik.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So I am Shovik Biswas from third year. So I will be talking a bit on the cloud. So starting with it, like what is cloud actually? So cloud is nothing but like a database kind of thing that you want to run your some type of computation or some kind of use it like a storage, but instead of storing it on your system, you are deploying it to a server that is doing all the computation on the and all the hard work that you want to do on it. So that is actually the cloud. So you are accessing it as a way like you want to do all the computation, but not on your resources, but on another resources hosted by a different service platform. So you should learn about cloud because cloud is a booming technology now, and there is a lot of job opportunities that are cropping up on it. So talking about the cloud platforms, there are various cloud platforms like GCP, which is a Google Cloud Platform, AWS, which is provided by Amazon, and Azure is provided by Microsoft. So there are various pros and cons about them, and mostly they all do the same kind of stuff. Like you can host a machine learning model there, use it as a storage, or like you can do all the computation on that server. So for getting started, I have some of the resources here. Like for the Google Cloud Platform, they are at the Quick Labs. They are really great to start with the hands-on training, and you will also get an initial $300 free credit on them. So you can get started with Quick Labs and Google Cloud Platform from there. And another link that I have here is AWS training. So using this, you can like here there are a lot of resources on AWS how to get started, and many of them are free. So you can go onto these links and get started with cloud platform. Now over to you, Nimish.
Thank you, Savik. So, hello everyone. I am the DSE member for machine learning. So, like I'll be introducing you to machine learning and some of the things that you can get started with. And after this session, if you have any doubt or you want to like delve deeper into this domain, you can like contact me. So, the first thing is like since we are time constrained, I'll be giving a very crude, non-granular introduction to machine learning. So, like machine learning is a very deep domain. There are several subsets of machine learning. Then there is something quite different called reinforcement learning. But like for this talk only, I'll be imprecise and talk about learning in general. So I assume most of the people here are rather new to the concept of machine learning or learning in general. So let's take a very simple example. Uh, all of you at some point of time have visited YouTube and have watched videos there. I hope you have observed that when you visit the website for the first time, your recommendation wall is kind of randomly filled with say music videos and sports videos and things like that. And as you watch videos, your wall gets filled with similar recommendations. So, if you give a little thought about how to implement such a system which, given users' preferences, recommends them videos in future, it will be very clear to you that standard programming techniques and human effort is quite infeasible for building such a system and scaling them to millions of people that use YouTube. So what we actually do is we actually build certain algorithms which take like huge data sets of what people have seen in the past and what their recommendations have been to drive your recommendations in future. So the point I want to draw to you using this example is that we have a certain kind of past data, we have certain algorithms, and we combine them so that the algorithm uh, gets certain patterns in past data and uses those patterns to predict things on future data. And most of this process is stochastic, non-deterministic. And that means that if there are like two people who are watching cat videos on two separate YouTube channels, they'll get different recommendations on the general topic of cute cats, but their recommendations will not be like exactly same. It will be similar, but not exactly same. So I hope I have been able to drive the point that the things involved here are stochastic, non-deterministic, and standard programming techniques are infeasible in this. So that's the point of machine learning. And so the thing is that if you think about getting started with machine learning, now there are several rabbit holes all around the web. Uh, One kind of rabbit hole that I've come across a lot is getting a YouTube tutorial saying building your first AI project in 20 minutes. So I'll advise not going there. The second extreme of the spectrum is like building your way up from first principles of statistical learning and linear algebra. So the mathematical foundation, you pick up the mathematical foundation, you do the math, and then you build from there. So while this will drive you to like understand everything there is to understand in machine learning algorithms, this is a like very long path and people get frustrated quite well. So what I've suggested here is kind of a middle path. I'll first suggest to start with Andrew Ng's course on Coursera. The thing about this course is that keep in very minimal math required. You don't have to have too many prerequisites for this course. You can like directly start this course even now. And what they do is they give you assignments which involve no library. So this is a very important thing to understand, not in machine learning, not just in machine learning, in anything that you try to learn, that if possible do not go for several libraries where you just import certain things, you call certain functions, and things are done. Try to implement things on your own to understand how those work. And the reason I like this course is because it doesn't depend upon libraries to get things done. It asks you to write code yourself, which is a really good exercise. The only problem with this course is it's a bit old, I think 2012 or something, and thus it like works in Octave and MATLAB. But like you can always port those assignments to Python or R. And
Mm. Excuse me, Nimish. Excuse me, Nimish. I think you are not audible, Nimish.
Nimish. Okay, over to you, Ritik.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Hello, I am Ritik. Hello.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
audible.
Hello, I am Ritik, a member of WebDev from third year, representing the WebDev right now. Uh, so I just want to say what is WebDev. So here we learn about the components required to build the website, and right now we have a team of six, including me. So recently we made the website for the upcoming event of WOC, Winter of Code, using basics like HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and JavaScript. I would like to give you a short intro of our web team. Rahul Solanki, Vedant, Gaurav, Apur, Pavan from second and third year. So to learn basics, what I will suggest is W3 School is a good website and a good start. You can easily learn and practice it side by side. We all have started our basics from W3 School website. It is very good and it is very easy to understand. Also, if you want to subscribe to a course on Udemy, like if you love video and to learn by a course, so you can subscribe the Web Developer Bootcamp 2020 by Cold Steel. It is a very good course, and you can get it for free as you know how to download a movie, like the way you download movies. And so I will introduce you for some frameworks. Like for front end, our web dev team uses React.js, and for backend we use Spring Boot, our currently web dev team. So what is framework and why it is needed? So web framework help us to achieve structure in our web applications, and they give us additional features we can add to them without too much extra work. The aim of the framework is to provide a common structure so that web developer don't have to redo it from scratch, and we can reuse the code provided. So why did we choose React.js? Let's think in different way. How does a web page look like? Like we have different components in our web page. The first is our header, then the main body, footer, sidebar, and many more. So what React.js takes the idea of splitting the web page into components and allows you to build these components using JavaScript, and also we can reuse it if it is needed. So like let's take an example. We build a component in which a form is taking the details of a student, like its name, roll number, registration number, anything. So we can reuse that component again if it is needed somewhere in the other web page rather than writing the same code again and again. And also we can use these components wherever we can use. We can also pass the data. We can pass very required things from one component to another. So React.js is fully built on components, and it is easy to build a website using React.js. And I will tell something about Spring Boot. It is a Java-based framework. The main idea of the Spring Boot is to give production-ready application. Like the moment you create the Spring Boot project, you don't have to do any configuration. It is runnable and you can deploy it in on server. In short, for software architectural design pattern like MVC, Model View Controller, View is built by the React.js, and model view, the controller is for the request that we make, like get, put, pull, delete, and the model the data related logic using Spring Boot. So this was a short introduction from my side regarding web development. If you need any help or if you want to know more about it, so as Swami has told you how to join it, and you can also contact us personally using Discord, WhatsApp, anything. Everything is easy if you want to do it. Okay. Who is next?
Okay.
Handing over. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Ritik. Nimish, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Like
Yeah, so
nothing.
I'll just go back to the previous slide and you can finish off where, like,
Like,
towards
but
the end. Yeah.
yes, but I don't understand like how much was transmitted and how much wasn't transmitted. Like, can you give an idea where the voice went off? Because here no problem was recorded, so I was not really available.
Yeah. So you can just repeat the last part, like where you were talking about building original projects and not going into.
Okay, so the papers with code portion was clearly audible, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So the last portion of what I wanted to say was a like piece of advice from me, not just in machine learning domain, but in any domain in general, was to like please don't build projects by completely following tutorials, if at all you decide to follow one. That goes on to say that you just not follow a tutorial, and whatever the tutorial says you just copy that code, run it, and post it on GitHub and add it to your resume. Please don't do that, because although your resume will fill with like many projects, but it is not going to like help you in the long run. So it is essential that you understand things and build your own implementations. And please also understand that learning in general takes time, and it's, in my opinion, completely worthless to adopt shortcuts to fill your resume. Even if your resume has less number of projects, that's fine, but it's better if you have like your own implementations where you understand everything from end to end, because that's what will going to hold for you in interviews or anywhere you go. So that's what I wanted to say. If you have any doubts about machine learning, you can always contact me. So thank you. Over to you, Sami.
Okay, so let's move on. Yeah, so for mobile app development, we have Shovik. Over to you.
Yeah, so I am again here. So actually, I am in DSC for development, and like I was also in the cloud team, like for the cloud facilitator. As a cloud facilitator, I was also there. So I am mostly into the mobile app development. So getting started with it, like so for mobile app development, there are various platforms available, like Android, iOS, and cross-platform. So let me tell you about it a bit. Like for Android, mainly in the frameworks, there are two, like Android and iOS, and the cross-platform is something like runs on all the platforms using the same code base. So I am coming to the cross-platform later. So starting with Android. So basically in Android, the languages you need are Kotlin and Java. And now Android was previously only in Java. Now for the recent few years, they have completely translated all the things to Kotlin, because Kotlin is much more like it is a declarative language, so it is much faster to write and it is not that complex as Java. And the codes that you run in Java are very lengthy, and the Kotlin, what it does is it has a lot of abstraction, so the lengthiness of the code becomes very short in Kotlin. And what the third one is, that is XML. Actually, this XML is mostly used in building the UI part in Android, and all the logics and other stuff are written mostly in Kotlin or Java, whichever you are using. And if you have any, like if you're working in Java, Kotlin has a thing like it can directly run a code which is written in Java within it. Like you can have an Android project where you have both Kotlin and Java in it, and it will run very smoothly, and Kotlin gets compiled directly into the binary code along with Java. So coming to the iOS, the main language that is used here is Swift, and Swift is a very nice language. Previously, the language that Swift used, that iOS used, was really bad, and after coming to Swift, this became really better. Like Swift is also a declarative language, like Kotlin was. And coming to the cross-platform. So in the cross-platform part, there are mostly the most popular ones are Flutter, React Native, and Xamarin. So these are the names of the frameworks. So among these, I will always prefer Flutter, because the reason is that Flutter is something which all the cross-platform languages which were present there, all the languages used to lack something. Like the React Native used to run on multiple platforms, but it used a bridge between the native code and the cross-platform code. So the that conversion takes a bit of time. So the application doesn't run smoothly on every device. And Xamarin has that kind of problem as well. So what Flutter does is it doesn't have anything like that kind of bridge like React Native has. So it directly compiles to the binary code. That the Flutter code is usually written in Dart. So that Dart code directly compiles to the binary machine code which runs on the device. So it saves a lot of compilation time, as well as increases the smoothness of the application that you built with it. And all the Flutter applications run on 60 FPS. So the resources that you can use to get started with mobile app development. So first of all, I have this Udacity course of Android app development with Kotlin. So there was one previous course on Java. So don't go with the Java one, because Android is now already become a Kotlin first language. So mostly people prefer the Kotlin language, and all the backend stuff of Android, like all the frameworks that Android used, are all converted into Kotlin mostly. So it's always better to start with Kotlin if you are going for Android. So for Android, for getting started, this Udacity course is free, and it is by far the most like it is very easy to get started with this course, and it is very explanatory with various projects. So you can go for it for Android. Now coming to the Flutter, for starting with Flutter, there is this course, the complete Flutter Development Bootcamp with Dart. So this course is led by Angel Vayu, and this is like a recommended course by Google itself. So for Flutter, this is the best course you can go for, and it is very beginner friendly as well. Also, there are various YouTube channels which are uh, for the Flutter app development, and one of them is MTech Viral, and there are various other channels as well, like they are also very good, like really good. Like other languages don't have, other frameworks doesn't have this kind of like so good YouTube tutorials, so Flutter has that. And if you want, I can share the YouTube links as well later. And for iOS also, there is this complete iOS app development bootcamp. It is also available on Udemy. And the Flutter courses, all the Flutter course will also be available on Udemy and also on Angel Vayu's personal website, I guess, as well. So both of these courses you will get on Udemy, the iOS and the Flutter. Okay, so over to you, Shomi.
Thank you, Shovik. Moving on to open source, and we have Pulkit to speak on open source. Yeah, over to you, Pulkit.
Hello everyone. This is Pulkit Mishra from the fourth year of Triple ID Kalyani. I did my GSOC this year with CC Extractor. The project that I worked on was Poor Man's Recognition, and I've been contributing to that organization ever since. And I do a bunch of other stuff also, and if you are interested, you can check my profile at www.pulkitmishra.tech. But today, the DSC community wanted me to talk to you all about open source, so we'll do that. And the way we'll do that is in the form of like the way I've structured this is in the form of 6 FAQs, or frequently asked questions, if you will. And why have I done that? Because I'm lazy and this is the easiest thing I could think of structuring this talk. All right. Okay. So let's jump right in into the very first thing. What is open source software? So the most cliched beginning that could have been possible, right? And I know a lot of people out there would already know what open source software is, but like even if there is one person who does not know about open source software, and if I introduce him to this amazing world of open source software and he learns from me that such a thing exists, I mean that's a win for me, right? And we should do that anyway. So let's talk a bit about what open source software is, coming back to the main topic. So any software whose source code is freely available to you is called open source software. Now, you might think, like, give me some examples maybe for so that you can so that I can understand better what is closed source and what is open source. Is there a thing as closed source? Yes, there is. I mean, if you think about, all of you would have WhatsApp, right? Now, WhatsApp is an example of a closed source software. By no means you can get the source code of WhatsApp. So that should make you think: are there such softwares out there of whose source code you can see? The answer is obviously yes, and that's the entire thing on which open source software development is based on. Now, for example, the Linux kernel. Those of you who have Ubuntu, or some Arch, some Arch Flex out there, or those of you who have contributed to Git before. So the code base of this entire thing is out there available, and you can go and see how it is like. And just in case there is someone completely new to this, right, who has no idea what Linux kernel is, who has no idea what a Git is, you definitely would have used VLC Media Player, right? You would have used Firefox, a Mozilla Firefox as a browser, right? That is an example of open source software. You can go on or go on to GitHub or wherever it is hosted, and you can see the code base and how it works. So that's what open source software is all about. The second question is, okay, I get it what open source software is. A good question to ask would be, why should I care about it? And why should I consider contributing to open source? Well, there are a plethora of reasons if you think about it. If you think about it, the entire community needs tools, right? Now imagine if anyone has ever worked with, say, Python before. Imagine a world where NumPy doesn't exist or Matplotlib doesn't exist. So these are gifts of open source. Different people from across the world, from different walks of life, come together to make something amazing. I mean, doesn't this give you the chills? Ki, like you sitting here in India can collaborate with someone else working at say USA. I mean, that very thing should be motivating enough, I guess, for anyone to get started into contributing to open source. So there is this thing about building of tools, but then as I've highlighted here, why you, like you in specific, you in the first year, second year, third year, or maybe even fourth year, should consider contributing to open source. So the most important thing that you'll get out of it is learning. Now let's take my example. I did GSOC and I've been contributing to CC extractor development ever since. So I was mentored by a person who is actively working in the field of data science, and my org admin was someone uh, who has been deploying deep learning models efficiently and in a scalable way. So I learned all of that from them. I got a chance to learn from them. A lot of people think that by doing GSOC or by contributing to open source, they are helping the organization. Maybe to some extent, but to a large extent, they are taking out time to help you, right? You are learning things. And if you are learning something new, something amazing that you can use later, that's a win for you, right? And the second thing is, as I said, that the very fact about being part of a community, if right at this moment you go to www.github.com/home, right? Just maybe if you're on a laptop or you're just switch to a new tab and go to www.github.com/home. You'll see a beautiful imagery over there of how people from different walks of life, from different places, are all contributing and coming together to build amazing products. I mean, that very homepage is the best motivator, is the best imagery that can that is more than sufficient. That should be more than sufficient to get anyone started to contribute to open source. Okay, great. So the great thing is now you know about open source, you know why you should care about it and why you should maybe consider contributing to it. So what do you need to know? Coming to the third question, मुझे क्या पता होना चाहिए? Uh, First of all, you should be aware about version control systems. uh, Now how version control Git, but the thing is, to be technically correct, Git is a version control system. Most people out there use Git, but there are other version control systems. Is in case you want to learn more about Git or what a version control system is, you do what every good software developer does. You go to Google and you search learn Git and GitHub, and you press enter, and the very first, second, third sites are more than sufficient to give you a good idea, to give you a good understanding of what Git is, of what GitHub is, and why they are there, right? So this is one thing, you should have an idea of version control systems. And the second thing that you should know about is the tech stack of the organization, or the repository that you want to contribute to. So if there's some, you find some cool project out there and you think, okay, maybe I want to get started. So suppose, as Sovik explained, it's a Flutter based mobile app, right? So if it's a Flutter based mobile app, you'll need to know Flutter, obviously. And in order to get your code out there into that repository, you'll need the version control system. Similarly, if there is a Python based project, you need to know Python. And to get your code out there, to get your code merged, you will need to know how the version control system works, or how Git and GitHub specifically work. Other than GitHub, there are other things too, but I'm saying GitHub because most of it, Most of it is on GitHub only, right? Okay, so coming to the main question, the question of the millennium, right? How to crack GSOC? मुझे भी GSOC करना है. So the thing is that the correct answer to how to crack GSOC is that you don't crack GSOC. Okay? Yes, I mean that's how it works. You don't crack GSOC. It's not an exam. So if you have this attitude that you have to crack GSOC, you'll not be able to crack GSOC. You'll keep on watching YouTube videos of people telling you how to crack GSOC, and you'll never be able to crack GSOC. So let go of this attitude that हर चीज जिंदगी में एक एग्जाम है जिसको आपको क्रैक करना है. ऐसा नहीं होता है. GSOC is not something that you have to crack. So also another thing that you may have heard is कि GSOC करने से गूगल में इंटर्नशिप मिलती है या गूगल में सीधा जॉब मिल जाता है. So all of that is untrue. Okay, that's not what GSOC is. So you maybe इतना hype बना रखा है. So you may have been considering कि GSOC करने से ये हो जाएगा वो हो जाएगा and everything. And suddenly you are hearing me say कि ये सब नहीं होता है. It's not an internship. It doesn't guarantee a job at Google. It's if you go into it with the mentality of cracking it, you won't be able to crack it. Then why do GSOC in the first place? The answer lies in open source. If you are interested by the idea of open source software, you will contribute to GSOC. You will crack quote unquote GSOC. If you get the idea why open source software exists, right? If you like doing that and you want to do that and you want to do that because you like doing that and not someone else is doing that or someone else has told you that you have to do that, then you'll automatically be able to do GSOC. Okay. We also have a program coming up that was mentioned right in the beginning, and I believe it will be highlighted after I end this weird gyan that I'm giving to all of you. So yeah, coming to the fifth question, are there other programs similar to GSOC? Hell yes. There are lots of programs that are similar to GSOC. Not strictly speaking, they have their own ways of working. In open source, there are lots of programs that give you umpteen number of opportunities to learn from. One such example is the MLH fellowship program. You can Google that, MLH fellowship program. The second thing would be the Linux kernel mentorship program. Google that. The third thing is FOSS Asia Code Heat. This is not strictly speaking an open source program where people, it's more of a competition over here. So check it out if that interests you. Then the JBoss community does a bountiful open source of code. There are tons of programs out there which we will talk about and as we progress. And so yeah, what's next? So DSC is planning something similar on lines of GSOC to get you people started with open source, and because you will do open source, that is why you will do GSOC. GSOC करने के लिए open source नहीं कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि open source कर रहे हैं इसलिए GSOC हो रहा है. So remember that, please. So we'll have that winter of code thing that will be explained by Shomi, and we'll definitely have more sessions on this. I remember when I was in second year, we had organized an entire event just to get everyone's computers dual booted. When I was in third year, we did a Hacktoberfest, and lots of people, at least 70 people were there, maybe more than that, who had done their first meaningful pull requests over in that event. So that was great. I'm right now in my fourth year, so I believe I'm not, I don't want to be in the driving seat anymore, and it's great that I'm not. Your second year seniors and your third year seniors are doing a great job. And I hope the winter of code thing, this was something that I had conceptualized when I was in the first year, and it has been my dream that something like this happens in Kalyani. That'd be really great. So these are doing that. So hats off to them. And yeah, maybe one thing more that's more of a personal project for me is I'm thinking of starting a podcast. I'm not really sure where that will go, if that will happen in the first place. In case that does, we'll see. So yeah, in case you have any questions, drop them in the comment box in the YouTube, or you can reach out to me on Telegram or Discord if you don't want anyone else to know कि तुम्हें question पूछने से दिक्कत है, which is a bad thing by the way, because communicating yourself properly is a very important part of getting started with open source. So you'll need to learn that too, along with version control systems and the tech stack. The third thing that people don't talk about and is extremely important is how to communicate and get ideas through how to ask good questions. So yeah, I mean that's all from my end. Drop in your questions and over to.
That was a really good session. Thank you, Pulkit. And now we have Bharat to tell us about competitive coding. Over to you, Bharat.
Swami, just confirm, like, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
So like, my name is Bharat Keswani, and today I'll be like giving a brief introduction about like what is competitive coding, the most like search term on internet for college student who come in like first year, and eventually like it just become a part of their life if they like go into deep. So let's get started. So what basically is competitive coding? So it is nothing, just it's solving problems which involves data structures and algorithm on various competitive programming websites such as like Codeforces, CodeShip, HackerRank, which I'll come on later, is what we call as competitive coding. So now what basically data structures and algorithms are. So data structures are nothing, just like there are certain ways to organize data into a system's memory, and which is what we call as like data structure. So these data structure, each of these data structure has a certain use case for which they were developed, and eventually we use them now for storing data into various ways. So now what are algorithms? Algorithms are nothing, just set of instructions which you ask a machine to do to reach to a certain output. And that's pretty much what is basically competitive programming is. Now, what basically we do in competitive programming, and why you should do why you should do or start or get started with competitive programming. So basically there are certain like there are so many reasons why you should get started with competitive programming. So the foremost reason is like it makes you a better problem solver, and it helps you think to how to optimize a problem to its core. Like for instance, adding two numbers might sound so simple to you, like, but internally there are so many computation happen inside the computer, which you might not know. But like going to the deep and like breaking the problem to its core and then solving it so as to utilize the least amount of space and least amount of time is what competitive programming teaches you over time. So that's one of the like benefits why you should do competitive programming. Like you can be a programmer without not doing it. Like you can be a programmer without not doing it, but like doing it makes you basically a better programmer. So the next thing, which is just like there are so many contests happens over the year in which you can participate and like earn rewards over time, and that's one thing. So I'll introduce to like some of those programs. So one of them is like ACM ICPC. So ACM ICPC is sort of Olympics for competitive coding. They're like kind of like three steps to like reach world finals, which is the final step. And so the first one is like you compete among your peers in the college, and out of those like 2-3 teams goes to the second round, which is like regionals, and then we have Asia West Continental, the third one, and finally you reach to the world finals if you are like so good at it. So that's one thing why you should like do competitive programming. So like we have our own contest called Kodacharya for second year peeps. So once you'll be in like second year, you can participate in like Kodacharya, the annual coding contest of Triple IT Kalyani. It's like pretty fun. You'll get like pizza to eat, and you'll have pretty fun with your friends as well while solving problems. It's sort of like last year it was 5 year long, but maybe like it varies from 5 to 7 hours of long contest. So that's all about why you should like do competitive programming. And there are like pretty much contest happening on sites like CodeChef, where you'll have a bunch of college contests where you can participate and win a prize if you like form teams with your friends, and that actually like develops this capability of interacting and like coming together to the solution of a particular problem, and which is like a great interpersonal skills. So yeah, that's one thing. So let's talk about how you can get started with like this competitive coding thing. You just first need to like choose a language. So you can choose any of the language: Java, C++, Python, PHP, Perl, any language which you think, JavaScript as well. So which you think you can choose to do competitive coding in. But I'll recommend going with C++. Now there are certain reasons why I say this thing, like going with C++. The foremost reason is like if you go to majority of people's code, if you see, you'll find that they have done in C++. And why they have done this? Just because like C++ is faster, and since majority people do in C++, that's why more majority people come and do in C++, and the cycle keep on going on. While like most of the editorials are also published in like C++, although like there are some people who like do Java, but they're like pretty less. So I'd recommend, since you're like just getting started up, so it won't be a problem to just start up with C++. So that's about the language. So you'd not need to go into deep of the language to get started with the competitive coding. You just need to go into basics of the language. For instance, if you know how to like take the input from the user, how to like fill an array, how to perform operations on an array, so on and so forth, you are ready to go with the next step. So these are certain resources. Like this book is pretty amazing. This book is like cses.fi. You can check this book out. So this book actually like covers everything from for all sorts of algorithm and it's pretty much a beginner friendly book. So you can check this book out. And so if you like gonna go more deep into the algorithm, then this is the website cpalgorithms.com. So it covers almost like everything which the previous book covers, but there are like more advanced algorithms as well here on this website. So it's a pretty much open source project, as Pulkit Mishra sir talked about it. Like, so this project is also open source. If you become like really great into competitive programming, you can contribute to the CP algorithms project on GitHub as well. There are a few channels, the Ericto and TM William Lim. You can watch like streams. So just like you do Netflix, you can do like you can watch these streams of like 2-3 hours long, people solving competitive programming problems, and like this can really help. This YouTube thing will actually gonna help you a lot. So basically, these are like international grandmasters on code forces. I'll come to that international grandmaster on code forces. What basically is that? But these people are like doing it for years, and they actually like when you'll see their code, you'll like learn so many things, like how to optimize your code in many ways, many folds, and that's one thing. And then there is a book I actually like, forgot to mention, like Introduction to Algorithms. Somebody will put it into the chat by so Introduction to Algorithm by 4 writers in like CLRS it is called. You'll search on Google, you'll find it. And so that book is pretty interesting as well. You can, if you want to like go into the theoretical side of algorithms more, then I'll recommend that book, Going with Introduction to Algorithms by CLRS. So it's called Coreman as well. You can search for that as well. So now let's talk about like what are the various programming sites that are like available for you to practice this competitive programming stuff. So the first one is like HackerRank. So you can get started with the site. So HackerRank is contain like all sorts of questions, and these questions are basically divided in the form of the level. So you can select easy, medium, hard level questions, and based upon topics as well. Like if you want to get comfortable with the arrays, you can look for arrays. If you want to like go for graphs, you can like select the topic and go into deep of that. So I'd recommend you to like go to HackerRank, solve 20, 30, or maybe like 50 problems. Unless you get like comfortable with the easy level, you just keep on solving those problems. And once you think like you are kind of like comfortable with these problems, easy level problems, just jump on to like medium problems. Don't stick with easy ones only. And then so on and so forth, you can move to the hard one. So like parallelly, you don't need to like learn everything to get started with the contest on which happens on CodeChef and CodeForces. So first, like even right now, you can just go and like look for contests if they're happening today. So and get started with the contest. Like what the worst thing could happen is you'll get devastated that hey, I couldn't solve the first problem even like. But eventually, like you couldn't solve the first problem. Just go to the editorial and see like okay, fine, this is the stuff I need to learn to get this problem done. Just search for those topics, learn those topics, solve their problem. So that's the most, I would say, the strategy used by most of the people, and that's the most effective strategy to learn and go deep into competitive coding. So like to get starting with the contest, you don't need to know anything except some basics of language, and then just go to websites like CodeChef or CodeForces. And then on CodeForces, you will find like after every like 2 to 3 days, you will have one or the other contest going on, and you can just check out those contests and participate in those ones. So like in CodeForces, the problems are divided on the basis of A, B, C, D, E level, sometimes F as well. So what you need to do is like you start with the A problem, you try to solve it, you solved it, okay, fine. During the contest I'm talking about. Then you went to B problem and you solved it, okay, fine, great. Then you went to C problem, A, you couldn't solve it. Now what are you gonna do? So just wait for the contest to get over, and then look for the editorial at last, and then try solving this problem. And if there is anything new, Google, learn, and solve. And that's how you will improve. So that's the best strategy that I talked about. Now on CodeChef, like we have short contests as well. Like we have lunchtime, and we have cook off, and we have a long challenge. I would recommend doing like long challenge specifically. If you like do it honestly, I'll recommend doing long challenges. Honestly means like you will see people, you don't ask the solution to other people. That's what I mean by doing it honestly. So on CodeChef, we have a so you'll find a long challenge of like 10 days long. So it start around like 1 to 5 of every month, and you'll have basically 10 days to solve 10 problems ranging from like easy to the hardest level possible. And so basically why I'm recommending CodeChef is that like you'll get time to think about those problems, and once you get to the answer, the dopamine rush that will happen in your mind would be pretty amazing. So that's why like, and it basically like gives you time to learn those concepts eventually. Suppose you stumbled upon a problem, you did everything and you couldn't solve it, and so but you tried everything and you eventually got the solution. Like you said like okay fine, this is not working, this is not working, hey, suddenly this worked. So that's what like gives CodeChef. And but like even if you like look at both of these sites, I'll recommend going with CodeForces. If you like have time, definitely do these 10-day long challenges. But like if you don't think like you don't have much time about these, so like do like CodeForces contest. So that's one thing. So let's talk about like what is the order of solving problems. What should be the order of solving questions, which I actually like covered in this point only. Like you should be first doing some easy problems. Then once you are comfortable with those, go to medium ones. And once you're comfortable with those, you can like eventually move on to hard ones as well. So that's all from my side. Like you can contact me on Discord, WhatsApp, or like any of the maybe like on Telegram as well. And yeah, over to you, Sumi.
Okay, so thank you, Bharat. So coming to Winter of Code. So Winter of Code is a program which is basically aimed at increasing participation in open source programs like GSOC, MLH, and the different ones that Pulkit told you about. So what we have is that for the freshers, in case you have no idea about like how to get started, you don't know how to, you don't know about the different tracks, you got some idea from here, but you don't know how to take the next step. Like after learning probably a small course, you want to build a project or something. So what we have here for you is you have a month long program where you will like there will be a proposal. You will be like looking at different ideas, look at different to be honest, you should look at like there are a lot of proposals out there, like on GSOC, like GSOC proposals, and a lot of open source program proposals. You can look at them, you can take some kind of inspiration from there or something, but it's like our proposals will be very simple. Like you just have to have an idea and you need to have a GitHub account, and that's all we need. In like rest of the stuff we will help you out with. So if you know stuff, that is really nice, and if you don't know, there's nothing to think about. You can always ask us for help. So you will be mentored, like your project, you will be working on it, or like a group of 2 to 3 people probably will be working on the same project. So you'll be working along with your friends, and some of the seniors that you know, like in certain domains, will be monitoring you, and they will be guiding you, they will be helping you out in case you have some problem. They'll be setting deadlines for you so that you can, like, it will be very simple projects, but you'll learn a lot, and at the end of it you will have a meaningful project to have on your resume. And also you'll have some open source knowledge, like you'll know how to use GitHub and resolve some common git issues that come when you are contributing in open source. So this is basically your, like, you get an entry into this world, and you get to explore a lot of stuff. So this is mostly about Winter of Code. It will start around January. So you'll have 1 month, you'll have some time before we'll have some talks on this, to how, like, what kind of proposals we are expecting and what are the different tech stacks. You can also look at the different tech stacks which are there on like the DSC site, like the different, like, there you can choose any of them, like it's not limited. And then we can like look at the project and select the ideas. Like we won't be able to have everyone on board, but we will try our best to do that. So that is about Winter of Code. And of course, like if you do well, you'll get some swags and like some t-shirt or something, like that is secondary, but the learning process is more important. And that is mostly about Winter of Code. And this is the site that you need to go to, like that has the form where you can apply in, like you can put in a proposal there, and then you'll come to, like, as time passes you'll come to know, like if your project got selected, or if your idea got selected, and who are your partners, and who is your mentor, like that. So you'll have it very similar to the timeline of GSOC. Like you'll have community bonding, and you'll have like a development phase, coding phase, and everything. And you will have a presentation on all those, like whatever projects you did, you will be presenting them out so that everyone can check out your projects, right? So that's that. And moving on, like any questions on Winter of Code, you can put them in the comment section. We'll be having a question answering session at the end. And so for Android Study Jams, like in case you're interested in developing your first mobile app, we'll have it, most probably we're having it on 28th, the first session, Android Study Jam. So it's for beginners, and all of you are like absolutely welcome to join in and learn to make your first Android app. So that's all from my side, and about the different programs that we have. Okay. So now coming to Q&A. Let me see what are the questions that we have. We have one question, I guess, just a second. Here. I think we had one question for... Yeah. So it's for Shovik. Shovik, are you there?
Yeah, I am here.
Yeah. So what type of apps can be made using Flutter?
Okay.
Very generic question, but okay.
Yeah, so what type of apps I am taking it in the sense like what platforms you want to run the app on. Like using Flutter, you can, as it a cross-platform software, so cross-platform framework. So it can run mostly on all the mobile frameworks like Android, iOS, and it as well as supports all desktop frameworks like you can run it on Mac as well, Windows as well, and it can also run on even like IoT devices as well, like Raspberry Pis, some microprocessors. You can run it like on any uh, like there has to be an engine for that. So there are many people who have worked on those, and like Flutter is almost like so modular that it can be attached with any other engine and can be accessed. So mostly you can like make build apps which are in the stable version of Flutter for mobiles and for the Mac OS, and it also supports web development as well. You can also use the same code base for running it on website. Yeah.
Okay, so there's another question like Kotlin versus Flutter.
Okay, so Kotlin is, as I said, it is used for the native web development for Android, and Flutter is for cross-platform. So Flutter and Kotlin, like Flutter uses the language Dart. So Dart and Kotlin mostly are both of them are declarative languages. So both of them are good, I will say. And if you are going for the native Android app development, then Kotlin is the only choice, I guess. And for Flutter, there is Dart. And like that is it. Like if you are going for cross-platform app development, then Flutter is the only choice, and for native Android, then you have to go for Kotlin or Java, and among them, Kotlin is the best.
Okay. So the next question is for Bharat. What's the best site for a competitive coder to begin and then to advance? One site. Bharat, are you there? Hmm. Okay, fine. I guess Bharat is not here. Pulkit, sir, are you there? Roadmap
Uh-huh.
for GSOC.
Uh, right. So, dude, look, there is no
The question
roadmap.
that we wanted to avoid,
नहीं
I
हाँ
guess.
नहीं कोई बात नहीं but that is fine. I mean the way the hype has been built up it is काफी काफी expected है कि ऐसा क्वेश्चन आएगा कि what is the roadmap to GSOC or anything. There is no roadmap for anything in this world, by the way. The reason being that all of us are different, right? एंड बिकॉज ऑल ऑफ अस आर डिफरेंट सो हम लोग सीखते अलग तरीके से हैं, हम लोग हर चीज अलग तरीके से करते हैं. सो मे बी वॉट वर्क्स फॉर मी will not work for you. Okay, so there can not be one roadmap for anything. But yes, एक broad broad way में what I can get you is be good at two or three things, right? Learn a particular language, learn two languages at least, be good at
Like,
them,
I'm to like
understand
get
them.
started with Hacker. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm here, Swami.
okay, Bharat is here.
I would say
Bharat,
like get
wait,
started
let me
with
complete.
Hacker Rank, solve like
Okay,
the most easiest problems.
okay, कोई बात नहीं.
Hello, hello,
Bharat, can you
hello,
just
Swami.
let Pulkit sir complete and then
Hello,
you can, like, I'll ask the question
am I
again.
audible?
Hello? Hello?
Hello,
Yeah,
am
can
I
you hear me?
audible? Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Actually,
just
I
a
was on
second. So,
YouTube, so
there was another question that Pulkit sir was answering. So, let him complete and then I'll ask the question again to you.
okay.
Right. So, what I was basically the idea that I want to convey is that there can not be one roadmap that fits everyone. So, this idea कि एक roadmap दे दो, this is not going to work. What can be given is broad tips. ठीक है, मतलब कि you can try learning two or three languages, two or three web development frameworks if you want to, two or three Android mobile app development things, if you want to, or 2 or 3 if you're interested in machine learning, whatever you are interested into. Okay, so learn those 3 things first, and if you're confident कि हाँ ठीक है ये सब आता है हमको, okay, you have a basic understanding of a few things. After that, you can go and reach out to these organizations that have been there before. Just 2020, if you Google GSOC 2020 organizations, you will get a list of organizations that were there, right? When you have that, they will have the links of communication. Ki suppose a community exists on Gitter or Slack or say anything. Maybe they just have a mailing list, right? Go and talk to them, uh, that okay, I'm interested into contributing, and this is how much I have already done, मुझे इतना already आता है, this is the exact problem that I am facing, and this is how I want to contribute. ठीक है? But what is more important is that you read those things first. ऐसा मत करो कि okay, now I have found something interesting and it fits my tech stack, the tech stack I know. Okay, so pretty cool. जाके सीधा मैसेज डाल दिया, hey, I am this from this college and please help me get started. That's not a good way. I mean, think of it. Why would anyone? I mean, a lot of people in the open source world are extremely helpful, right? But फिर भी, suppose there are thousands of people with this very question, how to get started, तो हर किसी को थोड़ी ना बताते फिरेंगे, right? So there is a documentation out there, सब कुछ already written होता है. You just need to explore things before you start asking questions, and that's what will make you ask good questions. Good questions जैसे कि I have set up this thing, but मुझे ये दिक्कत आ रही है. So what would be this particular thing को solve करने का process, right? So this is how you will learn. Keep on figuring out things on your own by searching. You'll never find one thing that goes and fits सब जगह पे, right? और वो एक जगह मिल भी जाएगा, so that will, maybe हो सकता है तुम्हारा तुक्का लग जाए and you find one thing that okay, ये लग गया है यहाँ पे, but that will hurt you in the long run. So don't go for these roadmaps. Have your basics solid. Reach out to organizations after you have their whatever their repository is, whatever their project is running on your system. Then go and talk to the mentors or the admins. Every organization runs differently. किसी का एडमिन होता है, किसी के 2-3 मेंटर होते हैं, किसी का एक मेंटर होता है, किसी के में बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं. So everyone has their own way of doing things. ठीक है? So you'll have to adapt yourself according to that, right? Okay, so yeah, I mean, we'll have this entire thing, Winter of Code, where you'll get to experience the thing. Okay, so that you have an experience of how to do stuff, or at least learn a lot of things, right? So you'll get an idea, but you'll have to start trying. You'll have to start doing what every good software developer does, that is use Google. Okay, so go ahead and use Google properly.
Okay, so the next question is for Bharat. Like, what is the best site for competitive coders from beginner to advanced level? Yeah.
Swami, am I audible?
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, so as I already talked about it, like that first you should first you get started with HackerRank. Once you know the basics of a language, you get started with HackerRank, you solve like 20-30 problems of easy level. And if once you're comfortable with those problems, then you can like go on CodeChef and Codeforces to do the contest. That's it. You don't need to like remember any other site. Just jump on these 2 sites, CodeChef and Codeforces. Once you are like pretty much comfortable doing some basic problems, that's it. And like you can contact me, Sayan, and like there are a bunch of other people who do competitive coding. Naresh is there, Subhadeep Dey is there, and Prashant does. So you can like contact all of us. Any one of us, like if one is not free, the other one will reply, and that's it. So yeah.
Yeah, so the next question is for Shovik. So Someone has written, I exported a C hash and a Java core program using SDK. How is that different from that made from Flutter and Kotlin?
Okay. Okay, so like Flutter is basically for cross-platform app development, as I said. Like exporting from C hash to Java core program, like uh, okay, but like Flutter is like, see what I have a lot of questions I think regarding this, like how is like Flutter, why is Flutter there, why is Kotlin there if it is, if there is Flutter for cross-platform, so why do you need native Android then? And questions like that, and how we can integrate Dart with Java, I think. So I am taking all of that them at once. So like uh, let me tell you this, like what Flutter does is it combines all the native code, like you can say the iOS code and the native Android code. So it combines them to one, and it uses them to in a Dart code like a connection between them. So it uses a connection between the native code and the Dart code that you write, and then it compiles the Dart code directly and generates the binary which you can run on the device. So if you are saying uh, like there are a number of plugins for Flutter which are already made, which uses which already have this defined, like for the native Android and native iOS, and they're already connected to Flutter. But there are some things like some uh, like services that you want to use, like external services, anything that can be uh, like you want to use with your app, but you do not have a plugin for that. So what will you do then? Then you have to build that native part by yourself. So learning Flutter doesn't mean that you will never have to deal with the native code. So if you go deep into the Flutter, you will face this thing, like you have to know a bit of native codes as well for those which doesn't have a plugin for Flutter. So for them you have to write a native code for Android separately and iOS separately, and you have to build the connection between them to Flutter. So for that you need the native code like Kotlin, or for iOS it is Swift. And then you have to also have the knowledge of Flutter Dart, so you can make that connection to use. So I think this answers all those questions at once. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Shovik. So, do we have any more questions? Okay. So, I am a beginner and I don't know how, which platform I should choose. Should I start with competitive coding for more basic knowledge about which field to choose? I guess these two go hand in hand, I guess. Yeah. I mean, you must continue competitive coding and at the same time explore the different stacks that are there. So like at a point just choose, like for example, choose any of the stacks that are there, like ML or web dev, and just try something out, like what, do both like simultaneously, I guess. Like it works out for some people, and for some people they are completely dedicated to competitive programming, which is also good. So it's your choice, actually. Yeah. So there's nothing else, I guess. Yeah. So, okay, we'll end the session here then. Thank you everyone for joining in. It was a nice session, and you can contact all of us. You can contact any member, like you can literally contact all the members of DSC. Like in case you need any kind of help, you can always reach out to us through like Discord, Telegram, and all the channels that we have. So thank you everyone, and we'll end it here. Thank you.